Okay, we are showing. Oh, we're showing a very well, listening to a very rocky voice. All right, looks like everything is booting up here. Okay, this is going to be an interesting stream, everybody, because because I didn't realize until I went to do this that my iPad is at 5% battery. So I've got it on the wall charger, and we're gonna see if this thing holds up. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it's gonna drain too much power to be able to keep up with it. We're gonna give it a shot though. We're gonna give it a shot because why not? Why not? If it fails, then it fails. If it dies, it dies. That's all. I'm not gonna worry about it. It'll either work or it won't. Okay. Let's see here. Just pasting some links because I was trying to figure out what I want to do. I also have a battery pack that I thought about running, but the power cable I've got here is long enough, so I'm going to just go ahead and run it off that because I figure that's probably better than the battery pack. You know, we'll give it a shot. It may work, it may not. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. All right, I'm sorry. So I did not paste everywhere that I meant to. And so I'm doing that right now. I apologize. I'm doing that in the background here. And paste right there. Okay, so since this is already running, enter. 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 A lot of enters. I don't post in certain Discords just because I don't know. I don't know that all of them are as receptive to this type of thing. Like streaming promo. So if not, that's fine. Alright, it's in all the Discords. I can close this. Alright, let's check the percentages on this thing really quick. I'm just curious. Oh, okay. It is charging. Good, good. So we'll be, this is fine. We're good. Okay. That's, I really didn't know. I mean, the battery pack probably would have kept up, but I don't know if it would have. So I am going to just keep it on this battery thing, or sorry, the wall charger, because the wall charger is, I can see the percentage jumping upwards, fortunately upwards. So I think we're gonna be okay. And I can keep the iPad still enough, I think, to not interfere because I can move the screen without having to move the actual iPad. So, oh, there's me. Hey, look who's live. It's me. What do you know? So I think we're gonna be in good shape here. But yes, I normally check on streaming days. I normally do a battery check, and of course, I completely forgot to. And, you know, I've had that be low before, but I did not expect it to say, oh, you're at 6%. Good luck. So I, for a minute, was thinking, oh, this is not going to happen. But then I remembered I do have this permanent wall charger or wall adapter plugged in to normally charge it. And I figured, well, it probably has enough length to move, to stretch, to reach. And wouldn't you know it, it does. So, all right, I'm just posting in the last couple places that I still post things. And right here should be the end. Whoa, 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 where'd you go? Okay, and repost, and done. And I should mark that completed because I gave my dog her medication. So we are good to go. All right, we're gonna attempt this. I gotta do this a little bit carefully because I don't want this cord to catch in anything. So let me do this. Yeah, I think that's gonna be okay because normally I don't really move the iPad. So long as I keep it like, oh, let me tilt it so it actually adjusts though. There it goes. Do one more quick battery check on it. Yeah, it's already at 10%. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. It's gonna make the mouse a little funny to interact with, but you know what? Hey, whatever. Whatever we gotta do, we're gonna do. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll get a drink of water while my little animation plays, since it now beautifully fades out. And we are good. Okay. So, oh, I don't want showing that. actual. I don't think it is actually showing that, but all right. I can see the chat windows. Twitch shows it is running. YouTube shows an excellent connection. And I have both chat windows open. Okay, so we're gonna get going here. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. But I think based on the fact that the percentage is going up from the wall, that will be good for this particular stream. I didn't know for a minute. I was actually kind of thinking, maybe this isn't gonna happen. So I'm trying to figure out what I want to do here. And that's the mini disc. Let me put a new layer up here, and we're gonna use this because I want more. Hey, Bach76. I have been doing well, thank you. I hope you are well too. I don't know if you caught this from the very beginning, but I wasn't sure the stream was going to happen because the iPad is at comically low battery, but fortunately I have a wall charger nearby that I'm able to utilize. So we're going to go for this, and so far I think it's going to hold up just based on what it's showing. So let me see here. Thank you for stopping by and asking. I am doing well. All right, let me see. Yeah, because I think it's too boring if I only have the shading at that point. So I'm gonna do some shading down the arm here like this. Yeah. And we might do some pockets where we kind of, so like here I'm gonna have a pocket in the shading. And maybe here running along that line, and the rest will do. Yeah, that'll work. That's good. Okay, so let's find our detail layers. Here they are. And we can go ahead and use number 2. Wait. Oh, this is details 3. I did not label this. Hold on. Details 3. We can use details 2 or details 1. Doesn't matter. So, how are you doing on this fine... Well, I don't know if it's evening where you are, Bach. It's evening here. So I was about to say, how are you doing on this fine evening? But I'm not sure that it's evening where you are. So that may be the wrong question. Oh, no, definitely not that. Hopefully things are going well whenever and wherever you are. There you go. That's the right way to cover it. I'm glad that means, because it tells me Twitch is running, but I don't often check. So that means it is running. That's good. I'm having surprising luck with this dual streaming. The only thing that's weird about it, it's about 8:30 p.m. Ah, well. Stressful. Yeah, I get it. I get that. Not fun. Well, sorry about that, but I guess that's... Oh, yeah, because it's kind of it's getting towards end of the school year, isn't it? I'm forgetting it's April. Time just flies now. I don't even think about what time it is most of the time. I don't even remember what month it is sometimes. Things just fly by. I don't even notice. Oh, I can feel the heat of that charger. Yeah, I can feel it charging. Interesting. That's not bad. I can tell. Okay, let's lower this a little bit more. I just need to see really the ghost of it so that I know where I'm going. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, you're coming up on summer. So summer is one of those things where, in particular with schools, it's one of the rare things. Ah, graduation. Oh man. Yeah. Well, as somebody who did not graduate, well, no. I graduated from my 2-year college on time, but not my 4-year college on time. I didn't graduate from my 4-year college or to get my 4-year degree until when did I get that? What year was that? That 2022. So 22 years late is when I finished my 4-year degree. So, you know, some people get there quick. Some people really don't. Some people are dummies and don't get there for a long time. Not dummy because intelligence, dummy because for whatever reason, I mean, I know why I stopped originally. I stopped originally because I ran out of money. And it was that simple. I ran out of money. My parents helped me as much as they could, but we were certainly not rich. And I just got to a point where I didn't have the money to keep going. And then, like a fool, and it was a foolish thing, I'm not even going to pretend it wasn't, then, like a fool, when I could afford to go back, which was only a few years later, I didn't, because I was working and I thought, well, who cares? And honestly, you can, there is a very legitimate and worthwhile discussion to be had around whether a college education matters for most things. And the answer is, for most things, depending on what the jobs are, but for most of them, it doesn't. That's just the truth. It doesn't. It really can, what it can do for the most part is get you more money, but even that is not even close to always the case. But it's more of, I was talking to Mr. Ant Pruitt, who is a photographer, freelance photographer. And one of the things that he was mentioning, and I tend to agree with him, is that, most, not all. There are jobs where the education is absolutely important. And those tend to be highly technical, or where the schooling is specific and you apply those skills directly. But outside of those, what most places look for is, okay, they're going to judge you on an interview and your experience. And really, the interview might be, I'll just be honest with you, the job that I first got, hey, Faint Waves, or no, sorry, not my first job, my second job. I am doing well. Thank you very much. I hope you're doing well as well. God, I hope you're doing well as well. I don't like your hope you're doing well also. I hope you are also doing well. There we go. I got it. See? Art schooling. But when I came out to California, I had no connections, no nothing. So the first job I got was at the Geek Squad at Best Buy. That was back when the Geek Squad was a independent part of Best Buy. They haven't been for a very long time. And honestly, I pretty much lied to get that job. I really played up the experience that I had way more than it actually was. But, the person that interviewed me liked me, and I was a good worker. I shouldn't say was, like I'm not anymore. I mean, I'm not anymore working there, but I said, I'll learn, and I have interest in computers. And I think that's what they really cared about. They really didn't care about the fact that I didn't have you do. That's what I'm saying is, it is mostly how you come across in a room. And I don't say that, I really don't think that there's anything interesting about me at all. So I'm terrible in social situations. So it's amazing to me I could get through an interview at all. And yet, I've always done well in them. And I guess maybe it's because I don't, even though I just said that I played up my experience for the one job, but I didn't really lie. I just made it sound like the computer experience I had was more meaningful in the job that I was in than it was. The reality is, the amount of actual tech support I had done in the job that I was putting on the resume was very little. I mean, it was probably 5% of my job. Not to say I never did it. And I do have a knack with computers to some degree. I mean, now it's a much different world. Back then, I was always messing with computers. So it wasn't really a lie. It was an exaggeration for sure. But then the job I got after that, I really was not qualified for. But because I had the experience, the schooling was not there. I mean, arts, illustration, and commercial art degree, which is what I had at the time because I only had my associate's degree at that point, they had nothing to do with the job. And by the strict, what's the word for it? By the strict writing of the job title, I was not qualified. But they liked me. They seemed like nice people, and so I got the job. That's how it works. And that's what I mean about, I'm not saying don't go to school. I'm definitely not saying that. And to me, the value, and I've said this before, so I may be a bit of a broken record here. For me, the value of going to school, college specifically, had nothing to do with the courses. It didn't have to do, I mean, don't get me wrong, I learned stuff. I really did enjoy, well, and this was very evident if you were to actually look at my grades. I loved all the art classes. I hated everything else. And so all the art classes were A's and a couple of B's. but mostly A's, and everything else was C or less because I didn't care. I had no interest in math or science. That stuff's all above me. You know, I can't follow it. I can understand it if you explain it in kind of plain language, but can I sit there, you know, and do trigonometry or algebra? No, I can't do any of that stuff. My brain isn't built for that. It's just not. And I don't care. Just being honest about it. I don't have any interest in it. I don't have any interest in... I've heard people talk, and I believe them. This is not me saying that I think they're lying or whatever. People talking about the beauty of math. You know what? I have no doubt to those people, math is a beautiful thing to experience, that there is something magical about it, that they get out of it. I absolutely believe that they get something out of it. I get nothing from it. There has never been an equation of any kind that I've looked at and been interested in. It just doesn't happen. Buck says, yeah, I understand. I wish I knew more what I want to do in the workforce going into college. I have a ton of theoretical math experience, but I have to do the heavy lifting to explain it to a job that they... Yeah, well, that's the trick. That is the trick, is trying to... And, man, there are no tricks to that. I have read all these different, here's the way to blah, blah, blah. None of them are right. The reality is that, and I think this is one of the things that makes it difficult, at least in my opinion, this can make it very difficult to, because you'll see all these things, they're like, okay, here's how you ace the interview to get the job that you want. Just follow these 6 easy steps. That stuff's all nonsense. Yeah, because every interview is different. You don't know, unless you have an inside person who can guide you and advise you, which is ideal if you do. If you do, take advantage of that. Math is beauty. You should look at fractals, is often described as... Yeah, no. I mean, what I mean by that is, when I say there are people who look at equations on a board. You know, I don't know, physics equations. You know, x plus y over whatever equals this with the parentheses and the remainder of whatever. And they connect with it in this really physical, well, physical is the wrong word for it, but real personal way. Like in the same way that I look at a painting and see the brush strokes, and there's a part of my brain that just blows up at thinking about how somebody could do that. It's that same thing for these people with math, which is, hey, look, I'm envious. If I had that, my grades would have been better, and I would have been a better student, and I would have graduated on time if I had that ability to see math that way. I just don't. So when I look at math, what I see is a headache. You know what I mean? That's just me. I'm not saying that math sucks. It's not that. I am genuinely envious of people who... My wife is like that. My wife she does accounting work, and she can make numbers make sense, and she can look at things, and she can figure it out. It all makes sense to her. It just does. She can look at a set of numbers on books that she's never seen before, and she can identify the patterns in it, and she can see how to do it, and she can make sense of it. I'm envious of that. I don't have that ability. To me, I get lost very quickly. Even if you sit there and explain it to me, the minute you walk away, and it's me in that spreadsheet or that list of numbers, if I don't really have like momentum almost with it, where I kind of know where I'm going with it, I'll just get lost. I'll fall apart, and it just becomes very frustrating. Not because, you know, I think there's anything wrong with the math. It's because I know there's something wrong with me. I can't put it together. And they put me in, because I failed math in high school 3 times. They tried, and I had this great tutor. I remember, a wonderful woman, very patient with me because I got very frustrated, and I never got, you know, angry or anything like that, but I'm sure she could sense, because I couldn't really hide it, that I was really frustrated, and that I just could not make this stuff make sense in my head. And I think almost everybody has that, you know, knows what that is, to not be able to understand something, even though you're trying, sincerely trying, and it's very, very upsetting. And I'm not really good at hiding my emotions. I don't flip out or anything like that, but you can read my face if I'm not happy. It's very clear. If I'm not happy with something, you can tell. I don't act out about it, and I wasn't some kind of, you know, brutal student who was screaming and yelling and throwing a tantrum. but she could very clearly tell that I was struggling. And she tried. She tried probably more than a lot of teachers at that point would have. And I'm amazed at what teachers can do, because I think about how I was as far as that stuff, where I'm just not getting it. And also, I don't know if everybody's like this, but I'm also one of those people where at a certain point, if I'm not getting it, I'm going to start giving less and less effort to understanding, because I've just hit a wall. And I basically am just not going to even give the effort anymore. I'm just like, no, you know what? I can't get this. I can't get this. You know, that's great. I'm glad you can. I can't get it. And then I partially just shut down. So I won't be putting any effort into it. I won't fight it, but I won't put any effort into it. And like I said, for this woman to put up with me basically just kind of giving up on it multiple times, she got me through it. I ended up passing. So she more than earned the meager pay that she was earning, I'm sure, because teachers, it's a crime what teachers get paid. Especially when I think about the fact that I'm pretty positive that I wasn't the only student like myself she dealt with, and I'm sure I was far from the worst one in terms of my behavior. I am sure there are people who are, I mean, I remember seeing some people teaching treating teachers in just an extraordinarily vicious way, and I'm amazed people want to teach. I really am. People have said to me, oh, you should teach an arts class, and I sit there and go, I remember what I was like as a student, and I wasn't all that bad, and I'd want to punch me in the face. So maybe I shouldn't be teaching anybody, which I hate to say, because I know that there's a shortage of teachers and stuff like that, and I do love the idea of letting young people experience art and trying to be a positive influence on them. But I think if I had one of these wiseacre, to use a very kind term for it, students in a class, which I was never like that, but I was in classes where there were lots of people like that. And, of course, when I was young, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, it's funny. Now I look back at it, I'm like, wow, what a dirtbag way to be to somebody who's just trying to teach you. Just scummy. And I wouldn't be able to handle it. I can just tell you right now. I'd be in some trouble, because I'd probably slap a kid in the face. And I know you can't do that. This isn't the 50s, and I'm not saying you should be able to do that, but I know you can't do that. I don't even know if you're allowed to really raise your voice at kids these days. And I don't say that as, oh, your kids got it easy. I'm just saying I know it's a lot different, because I think in the high school that I went to, I think I was either the last or second to last year before they put in metal detectors and locked all the doors. I mean, when I was in high school, that was pre-Columbine and all that stuff, which at this point is a while ago. So we didn't do shooter drills or anything like that. There weren't, don't get me wrong, I saw some stuff. I think somebody died my junior year in high school, but that was self-inflicted. There was one kid who died freshman year because they were sitting on a car, messing around on a car while somebody was driving, and they hit the brakes too hard, and the kid flew off it and hit their head. I saw the kid come in with knives and cut another kid's face up. It wasn't too bad. I mean, I'm sure it left some scars, but the kid didn't die or anything like that. So I'm not going to say I never saw anything in high school. But it wasn't like now, where you literally have to worry if somebody's going to walk in with a machine gun or a pistol and just start going crazy. I mean, we never had to worry about, I don't know if we never had to worry about that, but we didn't. It wasn't happening frequently enough to be a concern. Like I said, we never did shooter drills or anything like that. Nobody was checking for weapons. The worst thing you had to worry about was getting caught smoking somewhere. Honestly, that was it. So it's a totally different world. Whereas my sister, she went to the same high school, and it was a fortress by the time she got there. So yeah, it's a much different thing now. Like I said, that's not me saying, on my day, not like that, but it's definitely different. Like I said, we never worried about that stuff. So I understand why a lot of kids, man, are now, young people, I shouldn't say kids, but young people are, struggling with anxiety and depression and all that stuff. I mean, geez. having to go to school and worrying about all that stuff is just crazy. Like I said, I was lucky. I didn't have to worry about any of that. I mean, I'm not going to say no kids ever brought guns to school, but it was rare. I don't think I ever saw in high school. Let me think about this for a minute. No, I don't think I ever heard of or saw anybody who had a weapon that was not a knife or a bat. You know, close quarter stuff, but no guns. I don't think I ever heard of anybody or saw anybody carrying a gun in school. Which isn't to say nobody did, but you didn't know about it, so nobody went, you know, berserk in a class or anything. So like I said, I understand why, because, you know, everybody's trying to, oh, it's their phones. Well, it's a lot of things, but that's got to be a component of it. Has to be. Is to not know what you're walking into every day. I mean, I have a lot of anxiety as it is, and I didn't grow up with a lot of this stuff. If I was walking into a school, geez, yeah, I'd need some kind of medication too. So I get it, and I really feel bad. I mean, I don't know what it does to kids, but it can't be good. I know that. It certainly can't be a positive to have to worry about what's going on when you walk into school. I mean, I didn't like school because I was bad at it. I didn't not like school because I was afraid I wouldn't walk out. Whereas now that's a legitimate concern. So, I don't know. It's a weird world. That's for sure. And I don't know what, you know, I'm not a social scientist. I can't sit here and tell you, I'm not going to blame TikTok or whatever like some people will, or, you know, cyberbullying. I mean, I think that's all part of it, but I think there's a lot of things that are going on. I think it's a lot of things, not one thing. Everybody always wants it to be one thing. They all want it to be something that they can easily identify and figure out and legislate. And, you know, I get the impulse. I really do. Oof, man, I don't like that at all. No, I don't like that at all. We're going to back that out. That's not good. Don't like it. Okay. All right, let's try this. I get the desire by a lot of people to have a solution. No, I don't like that either. I got to give it a little bit of a ridge like that. Yeah, that's better. I get why it's comforting to have a simple solution, to be able to point at something and say, this is why this is happening. But that's rarely the way the world works. Usually it's a lot of things. And that's not a comforting thing. People don't like to have to think about the fact that, oh, there's not one easy solution to this. We're going to have to address a bunch of things at once. Oh, no. But that's usually what it ends up being. So, anyway, I feel like I'm being a downer here. So, let's shift topics to something else. I finished the Fallout series, which was excellent. No surprise, really. I was really, really happy with the ending of that. I am very interested to see where they go in season 2. Assuming there is a season 2, which I really hope there is, and I thought I read that it was greenlit. Yeah, it did. Yes, it did. It did stick the landing. I mean, I'll tell you what is funny, though. If you want, I'm assuming Faint Waves, you haven't watched it yet. Or at least not all the way through. When you do, who doesn't even know or like Fallout? Yeah, well, I probably will have my wife watch it. Because I know it is, but it isn't. Because the show, number one, Fallout, just to get into Fallout for a little bit, because why not? Because I could talk about Fallout for 7 hours straight. The nice part, I will get a drink of water though, because I will be going on here for a minute. The thing about Fallout is that its basic framework does not require you to know the games at all, which is, we all know post-apocalyptic. We all know post-nuclear war, right? That's easy. Oh, bombs went off. The surface got ruined. Bomb shelters were a thing. So the idea that they did super bomb shelters, which are the vaults, all of that stuff is relatively easy for anybody knowing the game or not to incorporate. Now, okay, got it. We understand. Yeah, big thick walls, protect people on the surface, bad times. Easy. Right? And then the rest of it is really in the characters and context, meaning they never come out and say that, okay, because this is the Bethesda version of Fallout, really. They never really come out and say, well, everything, this is a world where the atomic age never ended. It kept going till it abruptly stopped. And so all the cultural and technological reference points stopped, and so they're all there. So everything is this kind of retro 50s, 60s thing, because that's when the bombs, that's where everything kind of took off, and then the bombs came before it could advance further. That's why I don't have cell phones or anything like that. Even though I know the bombs dropped in 2077 or whatever, or something. I never got all that hung up on the years. But, you can play around with the times. But you basically get the idea that society got frozen at a certain point and really didn't move past it. And I think most people can figure that out because you see everything, and everything has that kind of retro look while still functioning. And then what you have to do is what they did very well, which is establish characters that people like. Once you do that, all the rest of it doesn't really matter. The rest of it is window dressing. It really is. So I'm not as surprised. If it had relied more on you knowing the games, which I think it really didn't. I think it managed to avoid being way too many callback type things. There were certainly things. I was actually shocked. This, I guess, would be considered a spoiler, maybe? But it's such a nothing spoiler, I don't even know if it counts. The fact that you don't, at least I didn't hear, the Fallout theme until the 8th episode in one... Or sorry, not 8th episode, it'll be 6th episode, that they didn't even use the Fallout theme. And when they did, it really caught me by surprise, because I just kind of figured, okay, they're never going to use it, which would have been fine. But when it kicked in, I was really, it really hit me, because it's the Fallout 4 theme. That's the version they use, that really beautiful piano theme that Iman Zur, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, does. Beautiful music. And when it kicks in, it's just this really wonderful moment. But I thought about it right then. I went, wow, they haven't used the music. They don't use it for the intros. They didn't use one of the most recognizable things about the series, where they could have just kept playing it over and over and over. And there's lots of little things that they could have done that I'm impressed that they didn't. And then when they did incorporate Fallout game stuff, they did it in a way that didn't feel attached specifically to the games. Even though I know it doesn't make sense when I say it, but it didn't feel forced. It felt very organic and natural, and it didn't feel like it was leaving anybody behind, which I was really impressed with. I was, and again, was surprised by, because I really thought, I've been thinking about picking up Fallout. I'm playing Fallout 4 now. I miss having a Fallout game I like as much as 3 New Vegas. Yeah, the problem with, I thought about going back to 3 recently, but I don't know. I like Fallout 4, I think, because I like Nick Valentine so much. I think he's such a great companion character. And not that there weren't good companion characters. I really liked Boone in New Vegas. Boone was great. So I certainly like those games too. But I think also I really hope they remaster 3 and 4. Or 3 in New Vegas. They really deserve it. They really do. And if they come out with a remaster of those where they really punch it up, then I'll replay them all. I think the other reason I went back to 4 was because I feel like when 4 came out, unlike 3, which I've played through, the way I approach branching dialogue. Yeah. Now, the dialogue was, although I'll say, playing it now, it's not as bad as I remembered it. And maybe that's because at that point I had played the other games closer. So now having some time in between, the dialogue doesn't bother me. But the biggest problem with the dialogue, to be honest, is that it's not really clear what you're selecting in terms of what you will say. You don't really know where it's going. In some ways, that's more organic in that you can't have an obvious path. So I kind of like it where you read it, you have to decide sort of in your head, well, what is this going to be taken as? I don't mind that, but I don't think it's the best. I think New Vegas has the best kind of, okay, here's the way the narrative's going to structure itself, that type of thing. I think it's hard to argue that New Vegas has the best approach for that. I honestly still think 3 has some of the best location moments. As far as the map, I think 3 has the superior map over New Vegas and 4. The vaults themselves, I really remember very vividly from 3. Way more than 4, certainly, and even New Vegas. New Vegas, you know, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting to look at them because I think they all have different strengths. I do. I think 4 captured because you saw more of some of these buildings that were left. 4 gave you more of a mix of the kind of old world buildings that had survived and the new ones. Because in 3, everything is pretty wrecked. And in 4, New Vegas is, as many people pointed out, really small. New Vegas is such a surprisingly small area. Which is, you know, of 3. Yeah, I mean, I actually, I don't know if you heard the 5 I did on this Fate Waves, but I had said, I think it was last week maybe, that I really would love if Bethesda or, well, I guess Microsoft technically owns them, so I don't know if it would be a directive from them, but now that Baldur's Gate 3 is come and gone, I would love to see 2 Fallouts. I would love to see, you know, the more Bethesda version, which, you know, 3 and 4, that style for people who, which I would play that one as well. That, and then I'd like to see the old style. I'd like to see them go back to the older kind of isolinear, is that the name for it? Isometric, not isolinear. Isolinear chips are Star Trek. Yeah, that's the thing is I think there's a market for both because there is such a, and that's what I was going to say is once you read that series, go to the Fallout Reddit and read the people who are losing their minds. Oh, the Fallout TV show has completely destroyed New Vegas, and they're just going crazy. And then other people are like, what are you talking about? No, it didn't. It's because of some of the dates and things that they're saying. And it's crazy. That I mean, people are just so angry about it. But that's because there has been this persistent group of people who have never been happy with the fact that Bethesda didn't just keep doing what... oh, I saw my screen just went out. Hold on. Let me get it back here. Yeah, up to 40%. Very nice. Very nice. Just wait for that to come back. I'll get a drink in the meantime. That should pop itself back in a second. Here we go. Oh, yeah. These people are, furious. Well, okay. I think part of why, and this was the gist of my 5, is I think part of it is because I think there was a belief that the big money era of those games was over. That people just did not want to play that type of game anymore. And while I will never shut up about the fact that I think Wasteland 3 is an exceptionally great game, I don't think it sold... It certainly didn't do Baldur's Gate numbers. Let's put it that way. It did not hit those kind of sales. And I think that the other thing that I really like about Baldur's Gate 3's success, Gate 3's, boy, it's a lot of zzz. The success of Baldur's Gate 3 is that one of the things I like about it is it demonstrates that it doesn't always have to be about AAA graphics, which I think has become an obsession within the industry, is everybody wants to make the next photorealistic. You know what? Photorealism is fine for some stuff. It doesn't have to be everything. Not everything has to be, I don't need ray tracing in everything. It's fine if that's what you want to do, but that feels like the AI of games. Everybody's chasing, is got to have ray tracing because that's what everybody wants. No, it's not. Ray tracing doesn't do that much. I'm sorry. I know from a technical standpoint it does. I apologize, Digital Foundry guys. I know you're gasping at my heresy and saying that ray tracing isn't the greatest thing ever. I know it's really, really impressive technically, and I absolutely agree it can add value to certain games, but it doesn't have to be in every game. I looked at the comparisons for Spider-Man 2 with ray tracing and without. Can I tell you, I would never have noticed it if somebody hadn't pointed it out. Would never notice it. Do I care that I don't see reflections of people walking on the street behind Spider-Man in the windows? I do not. I don't spend that much time looking at windows that way. If I had the game with ray tracing, I'd probably look at it for, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe, and I'd forget all about it, and I wouldn't care. And that's what I mean about Baldur's Gate 3 not having perfect graphics, not having microtransactions, not having a ton of DLC, no season pass, no live service, no whatever, and still being massively successful. That's my least favorite thing about where I should be reading this, because they won't appear on the screen. Sorry. That's my least favorite thing about where next current gen is going. Realism will perpetually date your product even if it's beautiful. It will look good fleetingly at best. The goalpost will forever move. I'd rather something that's a bit style. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's like Disco Elysium or the Dishonored games, all that stuff. That's way more memorable to me than Crysis. Crysis was pretty. I remember nothing about it. Nothing. I mean, I remember the suit because it was on the cover. You know, the suit the guy wore. Do I remember anything about that game in terms of what it actually had in it? No. Nothing. I remember nothing. Whereas Dishonored, I remember. I can call up levels in my head instantly. Like the way you would warp and some of the character models and some of the signs and stuff on the walls. Prey, that game that I played, I don't know, last year. I don't remember now. Time is nothing anymore. But that I really, really love. That's from the same. It's also Arcane. Has this beautiful art style to it. Like I can think of that game immediately. And it's some of the games that are quote unquote the best looking in the world. I don't remember them. They don't have, the memorization of them is nothing. It's not anywhere near the games that have beautiful art style and like the Sackboy games. My wife and I just played Sackboy, a Big Adventure or whatever it's called. What a delightful game. It's got this very, very wonderful art style, this great use of pop music. It's just fun. It's lightweight. You know, it doesn't have punishing difficulty spikes. We had a great time with that. And my wife, who's not as big into video games as I am, looked at that thing and she was just marveling because it all looks like it's knitted and handmade. And now that game, if it was photorealistic and ray traced, do you think she would think anything of it? No, it has nothing to do with that. That's not the point. Again, just to be clear, I'm not saying any of that stuff is bad. I just don't think we have to be so overly obsessed about it being in everything. As you said, that's doesn't do that much for me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Okay, there we go. We got some shading lines. That's good. That's good. And I do think you're right. It is a current gen thing. It is this obsessive thing where ray tracing. Okay, I got it. Ray tracing. I understand. It's neat. You know, honestly, the most, you know what the most impressive thing about ray tracing is? And again, it's not something I really even notice all that much, is the way it bounces the colors of lights on things properly in a way that non-ray tracing doesn't. But if you turn it off, will I notice after 15 minutes? I won't see it. So for the performance cost that it does to games, I'd rather have all games be 60 frames and look worse. I genuinely would. 60 frames is way more important to me than ray tracing is ever going to be. Just is not going to be that important to me. That's, yeah, same weight. What do I want to do with this? What do I want to do with this? You know what? Maybe I'm just going to go with color on this. Maybe I'm just going to do the rest of this with color and see how it looks. Let's try that. Rather than just adding more lines. Maybe what I want to do is take this and do that, and then let's knock the brightness down a little bit. The time, we're way down the time. 45 minutes. We're going to go for about an hour on this, so about another 15 minutes, and then I think I'll be done. I mean, made a lot of progress. Got the lines in there, so that's good. So let's see what we want to do with the actual coloring here. Because honestly, this should all be this color. Because these are shading lines. So we'll color all this in where this stuff is. And that also, of course, enhances the lines. So we'll do a little thing here. We'll just loop that like that. Very nice. Okay. So something like that. Yeah. But yes, that's so I really hope that somebody is at least considering going back to that older style of game for Fallout. Or if not that, maybe at least they're thinking of doing a really top to bottom remaster of Fallout 1 and Fallout 2, the originals. Even just re-release those. Just re-release those. I mean, I would play... The only one I probably wouldn't play is they made that N64 looking Brotherhood of Steel one. And by all accounts, that's an absolutely awful game. I mean, I've watched some gameplay videos of it, and I can't even pretend that I would have any interest in that. But I would even play Fallout Tactics. You know, I would even try that just to see what that experience was like if it was, you know, modernized with nice HD graphics where, you know, you could run it at a high frame rate and not have it look comically tiny where your eyes hurt to look at it. I've seen people running it at higher res and oh boy, it doesn't look good. It's kind of funny. But that would be interesting. You know, even if they just went back and redid the older games, I would like them to do more than that. I would like them to, again, I think it would be a really good idea to get people to not be as hostile towards Bethesda in general, because a lot of people feel like, oh, they ruin the games. I don't know if I agree that they ruin the games. I think that there's a place for both. I think you can have it where people who like that old style can have it and make it more of a, you know, more of the branching narrative ideas and more of some weird moral gray areas. Stuff that you could do in the old one where you could just, you know, you really could play it however you wanted to. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't know if they're going to do it. I mean, if I had, I wouldn't bet money on it. Let's put it that way. I would not bet any serious money on it. I think they're probably not interested at all. But I don't know. I don't know. At some point, I would like to think that there's a little bit of experimentation and some risk taking, and plus, if they did it again on the Baldur's Gate 3 model of it doesn't have to look beautiful and doesn't have to be 8K with ray tracing. It can just be a game that is decent looking, or even just mildly updated graphics from the original games and not break the bank on it. Well, then why not? Why not do it? Why not let people... I am sure, I am positive, I would bet money on saying that there are probably people within Bethesda who would be thrilled, developers and programmers and game designers who would want to try doing an old style game. I cannot possibly imagine that nobody would be interested in that. There's no way. I just don't believe it. I'm sure that somebody would say, yeah, you know, give us a modest budget and let us make this game and let's see if it performs. And I bet it would. I think it would. I think people would really respond to it. You know, and I would be one of the ones who would play both. It wouldn't ruin the first-person style games for me because I like that style of game. It would just give me something different to play, and it would just be more Fallout for people to... I will admit, too, I have to tell you, and this is one of those examples where it's like, wow, yeah, you can absolutely see how with the right audience this stuff works. With the series, I immediately was searching for where to buy those Vault-Tec coffee mugs. I wanted one, so I can't find them. The blue mugs with the yellow, I don't see anybody selling them. I would have bought that in a heartbeat. Amazon really missed a trick by not having those on their website because I would have already bought it. And I can't find them. I went to Bethesda's site. They're not selling them. So either they're just not selling them yet or they're not selling them, which is a criminal failure of marketing if they're not going to sell those, because I wanted one and I couldn't find it. So Amazon, if any of you are paying attention, I know you're not. rectify that error immediately, folks, because you got a sucker on the line right here. I'm probably going to buy one of the Pip-Boys, which, you know, seems like such a stupid thing, but I'm probably going to because it looks pretty well made. I could be wrong, could be a piece of junk. Bethesda certainly has a track record of that, but I may go ahead and buy that. They have a glass Nuka-Cola or Nuka Orange bottle. I'm probably going to get that because I've always wanted a good Nuka-Cola bottle, but a bottle, not a plastic thing, a bottle. And this is glass. The one that they're selling is glass. Probably going to end up getting that. And it comes with bottle caps, which is so stupid because they have absolutely no purpose, but of course I want them. And they come with them. And there was something else. There were a couple of things I'm like, oh man, I can see how I'm going to spend a lot of money on this website. I haven't yet, but I probably will. I'll just be honest, I probably will because I'm a sucker. And a lot of that stuff I'm pretty resistant to, but not Fallout. Fallout's kind of got me. I will admit, my normal level 12 resistance drops to about a 3. Well, let's be honest, probably -3. When it comes to Fallout stuff, I am exactly that person who's like, oh, Pip-Boy, completely pointless and has no purpose. Although I do like the fact that it's an LED screen, or LCD screen on it. I don't know if it actually does anything. I think they said it does. I think it does do some things. What would be great is if they loaded all the games onto it that you could have in the game, you know, in the little games you could play on, like Nuka Tapper. It would be great if it played those. It might. I didn't look specifically. I don't remember it saying it, but maybe it does. That would be great. I would even pay for them. A mild amount. I'm not going to pay, you know, $20 for a Nuka Tapper game, but if they wanted to sell it as DLC, I'd probably be dumb enough to do that too. I'd probably be a sucker for that as well. Again, I could lie and say, no. I'm not going to resist that. You know thyself. That's what the Oracle said, right? So, know thyself. And I do. I mean, I just bought a Funko Pop of Two-Face, the limited edition one from the animated series. And even though I don't like Funkos, but I gotta have it because it's got Two-Face on it, and I love Two-Face. So I have both the Two-Face. I have the Tommy Lee Jones Batman Forever Two-Face Funko, and now I have the animated series Funko because it's Two-Face, and I can't resist Two-Face. Forgetting the fact that I purchased the gigantic Two-Face statue from Sideshow, which is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a statue, but it got paid for by me selling Magic card commissions, so I was able to justify it that way. I justified it by saying people spending money on my art means I can spend money on somebody else's art, which is a ridiculous justification, but there it is. So, you know what? I realized I'm going to do more shading, but I am probably going to bring the... Wow. Oh, it just crashed. Hold on. Let me get it back, just so I can show you what I'm going to do. Let me get that back. Like 2 crashes. Not bad. Really not bad. Sorry, drinking water. Okay. Right. Oh, okay. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. So, because I want to add more shading. I like how that shading's looking. I'm probably actually going to do a third color. Oh, I forgot one thing. I want to trim that. I'll probably do a third color that's in between this dark one and the light one. That can, without any lines involved, but that can sit as kind of a middle color. Because, you know, why not? I'm becoming less afraid of color than I used to be. Even though I still don't think I'm particularly good with it, I at least will use it now, more than I used to. I will employ it more than I previously did, so I'm trying. Trying to stretch a little bit here, much as I can, in my increasingly old age. Okay. I mean, I guess we all have increasingly old age if we're alive, right? Sort of a dumb statement. Increasing old age. Everybody's increasing old age. Okay, so let's just clean that up. All right, now let's jump out to... Oh, whoops, forgot those. Do like to have clean edges on things. Before we go, any Switch game recommendation, digital or physical? Picking up one again since my tax return is strong. Hey, good for you. Ours was better than I thought it would be, too. I don't know why. It actually makes me very suspicious and nervous. But it was, and they haven't come after me, so. Switch games. Let me think about that for a minute. Well, without knowing what you have, let's see. I mean, Super Mario Brothers Wonder, or whatever it's called, that's really good. That's kind of an easy recommendation. I actually like the deluxe Super Mario Brothers U games as well. Actually, my Switch is over here. Let me go. Let me see what I've got on the thing here. I got the Switch right here, as a matter of fact, in my beautifully bright red case. Let's see. What do I have? Let me take a quick look in my little thing here. So I've got... Jeez, I can't see anything. This case is great, but it's dark. Hold on. This is Luigi's Mansion, which I like a lot. Luigi's Mansion 3, technically. What's this one? This is Zelda. Oh, that's Link's Awakening. I haven't finished that yet, but I'm going to get back to it. And then there's the Super Mario Brothers Deluxe and Wii U thing. So I would say those, if you haven't gotten any of those. I got rid of everything last year in time desperation. Things have improved. Oh, well, I'm glad things have improved. So, yeah, that Super Mario Brothers Wonder is really good. I really liked Link's Awakening. Now, the thing is, I'll just admit, I didn't play the original Link's Awakening. So, to me, this is the first time I've played it, which I think is making it better for me. So, if you already played it, I don't know if it'll have the same effect. But I really like it, because I just like the look of it. That it has this very specific kind of toy look. I think it's really neat. And I'm enjoying it. I just haven't finished it yet. But I will. And I like that game. I think it's fun. So that would be an easy one. I think it's something different. You know, it's something a little bit different. Feels a little bit older style, which it is. They didn't massively update it, which I think was smart. So that's probably what I would actually say, is go for that Link's Awakening, the Zelda game, if you haven't played it already. That one I think would be pretty good. All right, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some shadow in here. So I'll put some lines there. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, twist on it. Ah. That would be really great. That would be... Wow, what a great idea. That would be really good if they did that. I mean, it's so made for it, too. It just seems like such an easy thing to do in that style. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, I say that, of course, and they make boneheaded decisions about games all the time, but that just seems like leaving money on the table. Good call, though. Yeah. I would absolutely play that. Boy, that would be great. It really would. Do that. Okay, so that'll be for the next stream, which will probably be on Thursday. Okay, I think I'm going to wind it up here. Also because between the screen being on and the charging, the screen is really warm. Like, warm. So I'm going to... And we're right at an hour, which is where I wanted to be. So it's good amount of time. So let's do that. And then I'm going to... Where's my battery at? 56%. Wow. Yeah. Quite a difference. All right. So turn the mirroring off there. And let me get out of this. Yes, that would be my recommendation. And plus, I think I almost said Link's Awakening. I think Link's Awakening is also cheaper. I think they put that one on sale for a cheaper price than they normally do Switch games for. So that's actually another reason, because I think it's every bit as good. Probably because it's a remaster, or it's considered. It's not really a new game per se. But I believe that game is cheaper. Let's take a look. I'm just curious. Wow, or not. God, I don't remember it being $50. I don't remember it being that much. Really? I must have gotten it on sale. Because I don't remember it being full price. I really don't. Jeez. We'll wait for a sale. It's one thing about Nintendo, man. They occasionally, especially older games should be cheaper. Or get it used. Honestly, they work fine. I would say, you know what? Let's see. I'm curious. What does eBay have it for? Because, I mean, it's not like a CD or something. It's not going to get messed up. What? $70? What are you talking? Oh, okay. Here's one. Pre-owned, $24. Buy that. I was going to say, there's no way it should be more than that. Here's a brand new one for $36. Yeah. No, there's a bunch of them on here for... Okay, that one's $8. I would be suspicious of that one. I don't know that it works at $8. But a lot of these are around $30. For $30, not even a hesitation. I would say it's worth that. I thought it was $40, and I would say it's worth that. So around that price, yeah, get it for that. It's a fun game. It's got a really neat art style, and I liked it. And like I said, for me, I'd never played the original, so it was the first time I actually ever played it. But I think because I know people who did play it that still like playing it again. So I don't think it has to be a game where if you played it before, you're not going to like it. I don't think it's anything to do with that, because they did refresh the art style, and it's also a very different Zelda game. Certainly compared to any I've ever played. I haven't played them all, but the Mario elements in it are really neat. That's what I like. I like when, every once in a while these companies kind of step out and do something experimental. Usually pays off. It's usually interesting. So, anyway, I think that's going to bring this stream to a close. Thank you for coming by Box 76 and Faint Waves Music. And yeah, I'm going to plan to stream again on Thursday. I'll probably keep going on this image. And I think that's it. So hopefully wherever and whenever you are, you're having a wonderful whatever it is for you, whether live or later. As I always say, I don't care. So whenever you are seeing this, I hope you're doing well. Yeah, you too, Faint Waves. Take it easy. And anybody listening to this whenever, also take it easy and go experience a little more creativity. You don't have to stop with me. There are lots of really great artists, lots of really great people doing streams of music and everything else. Go find these people, support these people. Bandcamp is a great place to discover music for now. It's holding on. I hope it still does. So for music, that's a really good place. For artists, there's a lot of good YouTube Live and Twitch streamers. I think there's music too, but you can find a lot of really wonderful creators in a lot of places for absolutely nothing. So go find these people, and especially if you find people who you really enjoy, support them if you can. If they have a donation or buy me a beer or whatever thing, creativity is difficult enough, and it's very hard to make a living at. So it's difficult enough to do it and not hate everything you do and be able to have the public see it. That's more difficult than most people, I think, consider, is to expose yourself to the fact that, some people might see your stuff and absolutely hate it. Not that there is any such thing as good or bad art, but that's the world we live in. People have no issue saying, wow, you suck, right away. So if you find somebody whose stuff you really respond with and that you really enjoy, and they have some way to allow you to support them, then you should do it. If you can, obviously. Don't bankrupt yourself or anybody else. You have to eat, you have to live. But if you have the money to spare on people, within reason, then support them, because I'm very lucky. I have a good paying job, so I can do this stuff on the side and I don't have to worry about making money from it. But not everybody has that luxury. There are people who really genuinely are trying to make a living at doing creative work, and it's not easy, and it's not getting any easier. So nothing really saddens me more than somebody who, and I've seen a number of people over the years say, I can't afford to keep doing this. I have to eat, and I can't do this and do that. I just don't have the time, and that sucks. At least two people I can think of who were just excellent artists that don't do it anymore. Here and there, on their own, in private, but don't do it anymore because they can't. They have to work, and they can't make enough money, and they just really don't have the time for it. And it's really sad. So if you have the ability to support people, I'm not talking about me. I'm fine. I'm talking about people who are really trying to make this thing work. Give them the money. I'm fine. I'm not, don't get me wrong. I like money too, but I'm not in dire straits or anything. So at least not now. Who knows? Things change quick. But right now I'm fine. So go find people, and especially if they need help them out, because there's not enough creativity in the world. I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, since I'm now rambling on for 4 or 5 minutes, thank you for coming by whenever you're finding the stream or recorded video or whatever. Thank you for staying here and experiencing a little bit of creativity in my rambling narratives about nothing. And on that note, insert boilerplate language here. And until the next stream, take care.